What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. Now about a year ago I released a video titled Weight Loss 101 that covered everything you guys needed to know about weight loss. We went into macros, training, how to structure a training plan, and we also went into cardio. More specifically, I answered 4 of the most common questions in regards to cardio. And since then I've gained a lot more knowledge, I've become more comfortable talking to the camera and explaining my point more thoroughly, and I also learned how to script a video with bullet points so I don't go off on tangents. So today I'm going to revise these 4 questions and explain them more clearly and more thoroughly to you guys. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So before we get into the main bulk of this video, I just want to spend a bit of time and touch on and explain what cardio actually is. Because for the average person, they hear the word cardio and they instantly think spending a crap ton of time on the treadmill, Stairmaster, cross trainer, exercise bikes, waking up early in the mornings to go for runs. And although this isn't exactly wrong, it doesn't make their view on it any more right. And that's what I want to clarify for you guys. So for most people, they assume cardio is some form of steady state exercise. Hence the examples that I've just given you. So this is why when you walk into any commercial gym, 95% of the people there that are on a form of cardio equipment are doing a low intensity steady state exercise. And usually they're having a conversation with their friends, or they're on their phone, or they're typing away on social medias or Instagrams, and they're not really putting 110% max effort into their cardio sessions. And again, this isn't wrong, but when you're being told this is the cardio equipment, this is the free weights equipment, and these are your resistance machines, it gets a little bit obscure that you only stick and you only correlate cardio to this one piece of kit. When in reality, all of these pieces of kit can be used as a form of cardio. Because at the end of the day, cardio describes 2 things. A, anything that increases your heart rate, and B, anything that increases the function of your heart, lungs, and cardiovascular system, also known as your VO2 max. And that's your basics of what cardio means. 1, it increases your heart rate. 2, it increases your VO2 max. Anything that does that is a form of cardio. So without further ado, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the 4 questions that I covered a year ago. So when it comes to fat loss, it's all about calories in versus calories out, also known as a caloric deficit. This just means you need to be expending more calories per day than you're consuming, and cardio is just an efficient tool to help put you in this caloric deficit. So let me give you an example. Say we have an average person with a calorie requirement of 2,000 calories a day. So if he or she eats these 2,000 calories a day, they will maintain their current weight that they're at now. So they won't gain any weight, but they're also not going to lose any weight. And in order for this person to lose any weight, they need to be in a deficit. So depending on your time frame, how long you've got to actually lose this weight, what your training's like, what your lifestyle's like, you can vary these calories of how much you subtract to an extent. But I always say a good amount, and what I always advertise and advise my clients to do is 300. 300 calories is a good solid number. It's not too low that you're always going to be hungry at the start of your diet, but it's also not high enough that you're going to make very slow progress. It's going to be enough to make a good substantial amount of progress and leave you feeling full for the first few weeks or few months of your actual cuts. Okay, so we have this person's daily requirement calories of 2,000 to maintain the weight, and we've established they need to be eating 300 calories less than this in order to lose weight, meaning their new daily calorie requirement would be 1,700 calories. Now there's 2 ways you can go about hitting these 1,700 calories. 1, you can just simply eat 1,700 calories, putting you in 300 calories of a deficit. Or secondly, this is where you can use cardio and implement cardio as the tool that it's intended for. So what you would do is you would just jump on a piece of cardio equipment and you would just burn 300 calories. It doesn't matter how long it takes, it doesn't matter what type of cardio you're doing, you will just go until you burn 300 calories. And while doing this, you would just consume your normal daily requirement of 2,000 calories. So even though you've eaten 2,000 calories for that day, you've also expended an extra 300 through this cardio session, putting you in a deficit of 300, meaning your net calories are still going to be at 1700 as if you were just eating only 1700 calories per day. So is cardio needed for fat loss? No, it is not needed whatsoever. At the beginning of every diet, cardio is rarely ever touched on because your body can just shift a bunch of weight without it just from cleaning up your diet or exercising more. At some stage of a diet, yes, cardio will need to be implemented because you'll be on such low calories that you just can't bring them down anymore, and cardio will have to be implemented to keep you in that deficit. But this is on very rare occasions for most people and only needed if you are doing or competing in any form of bodybuilding or men's physique show. So if you're stepping on stage, if you're just the average person that wants to lose a bit of weight, you do not need to do a single bit of cardio for at least 2 months. After that, maybe you'll need to add 1 or 2 sessions in, as we've said, to keep you in that deficit, but it's not essential for weight loss. So regardless of what method you want to do, if you can just eat a less amount of food, by all means do it. But if you're someone like me that likes eating, then add cardio in to help compensate for the extra calories that you're getting in. But I could simply just eat 200 calories less than what I'm doing now and I wouldn't have to do cardio. It is not needed, like, whatsoever. So when it came to answering this question in my last video, when watching it over, I kind of realised that a lot of what was coming out of my mouth was just bro science, and there wasn't really any scientific evidence or any studies backing up what I was saying. It was just what I was thinking at the time. So this time I decided to do a bit more research into the topic, and I actually found a case study carried out, bear with me, by the US National Library of Medicine, National Institutions of Health. I know, a mouthful, right? So what this organisation did is they took 56 females aged 18 to 22, all of a similar BMI percentage and a similar body fat percentage, this being a BMI of over 25 and a body fat percentage of over 30. So they took these 56 women and they put them through a 12-week program. And they split them into 3 groups. They had 16 women doing a HIIT-based training program, 16 women doing a low-intensity training program, and the other 15 women we're not really going to touch upon because they don't have any relevance to the topic that we're talking about. They were doing another form of cardio, which we aren't talking about in this. Okay, we're sticking to this 2 groups of women, HIIT and LISS. So for the first 6 weeks, both groups did a cardio session that ran up to about 300 calories, and they were doing this 3 times a week. After the first 6 weeks, this got bumped up to 4 times a week. So the 16 individuals that were given the low intensity cardio program, they were given a cardio session to do 4 times a week that ran from about 30 to 60 minutes at 50 to 60% of their maxed heart rate. And the 16 women that took part in the high intensity training program were given 20-minute cardio sessions performing 4 minutes at 95% of their max heart rate, and then an active recovery session of only 2 minutes. And after these 12 weeks, the participants were measured in terms of the loss in their subcutaneous and their visceral fat. Now, if you don't know what the difference between these are, your subcutaneous fat is the fat that hides underneath your skin, in between your muscles. Your visceral fat is the fat that you can see, which is this stuff here, which hides the layer above your skin, which gives you that sort of almost puffy look. So both these were measured and they took all the data, and basically there was no difference between them both. After 12 weeks, there was very minimal difference between how much fat was actually lost between both of these categories. Now, although the data is very similar, there are some drawbacks from each of these training programs that you need to be aware of. So HIIT training, because it's so intense and it's such a short amount of time, if you are performing this alongside any form of actual weight training program, the risk of injury greatly increases than that of a low intensity steady state training program. And also, if you're training 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week in terms of resistance and weight training, you will not be able to do more than 2 to 3 HIIT training sessions a week, just because your body will be under such a great amount of stress that your risk of injury just shoots through the roof. And although it doesn't mean you're going to injure yourself every single week, there is a higher chance of it than just doing a low intensity training program. But on the downside, what high intensity does that low intensity cardio doesn't do is that it creates an afterburn effect. 24 hours after you perform a HIIT training session, your metabolism is boosted up, meaning you can expend more calories within the next 24 hours than if you were to just walk on the treadmill for 30 to 60 minutes. But low intensity cardio does have the added bonus that 1, it reduces your risk of injury, and 2, there is some form of entertainment factor because it's a low form of cardio, meaning you can listen to music, you can watch a show on Netflix while doing this because it doesn't require you to lose concentration. But at the end of the day, it's completely subjective to you. All I will say is that if you are doing weight training, any form of resistance training, and you are doing HIIT training alongside that, just allow yourself enough time for recovery that you don't increase the chance of injuring yourself whatsoever. So I believe everyone, regardless of what your goal is, whether you want to gain muscle or lose weight, I think everyone should be doing some form of cardio, regardless of what type it is, on a weekly basis. And this isn't just for aesthetic purposes, to keep you lean while bulking or to get you shredded while dieting. It's just for you to maintain a healthy physique. Because I don't know about most people, but I do not want to be in the situation where running up the stairs or taking a short jog or taking a short sprint leaves me absolutely gassed and out of air. Because you can look fucking jacked as much as you want, but if you can't walk up the stairs or take a walk to the shop without feeling out of breath, then you've got an issue there. And this is where the underlines of cardio is very important, because a lot of people just associate it with either weight loss or doing it while you're lean bulking to stay relatively lean. They're not thinking of it in terms of an actual health benefit. But what I also understand is there are people that are going to be on a diet, and there are going to be people that are bulking that are wondering, how many times should I be doing a cardio session a week if I want to lose weight? Or how many times should I be doing cardio if I want to stay lean while bulking? And all of these avenues require a different answer, and they will have different answers. So I'm going to try and answer each one of them to the best of my ability. So let's start with dieting. How many times should you be doing cardio per week if you are dieting? Now, as we said earlier, cardio isn't needed for weight loss until you get to a certain point. Now, this certain point is the leaner you get. So the leaner you are, the less calories your body is going to require. This because as you lose weight, your body shrinks in size, therefore meaning it needs less calories to maintain this lighter weight. And as we said earlier, you'll get to a certain point where you just can't reduce your calories any lower. Now, if you're the average person that is just going on a simple cookie cutter diet just for 3 months to get yourself ready for the summer, maybe 2 to 3 cardio sessions a week alongside a good, healthy, balanced diet and a good structured training program, lean bulking is an easy one. Because you're going to be in an excess of calories, you kind of have a bit of leeway because you don't need to do cardio to keep you in a surplus, because a surplus is just eating more calories than you expend per day. There's a fucking dog barking. Can you shut up? Now, I wouldn't surpass 500 calories per day. I would barely push it to 500. But you can use cardio if you go over that 500 mark. Or if you have a big event coming up over the weekend, you can utilize cardio to help prep yourself so you don't gain too much excess fat that you don't want to, because this is going to make dieting in the future a lot harder. But if this isn't the case and you're just sticking to a healthy surplus, I'd say 2 to 3 low intensity training sessions per week. Okay, so the way that your body reduces muscle mass is if you enter into a catabolic state. So if your body is catabolic, meaning it's in a state of breakdown, then it will break down fat as well as muscle mass in order to fuel you due to the lack of calories that you're getting in. And if you haven't caught on by now, the lack of calories we're getting in means dieting. So, when you're dieting, your body, yes, will reduce fat, but it will also reduce muscle mass the longer you're in a diet. And the more of a caloric deficit you're in, which is why I only recommend 300, the more muscle mass you will lose due to the increased lack of calories. So the idea that walking on a treadmill, going on a cross trainer, using a rower, using a spin bike is going to somehow make your body start to reduce muscle mass is beyond me. And I have no idea where this myth came from that is cardio burns muscle mass, but it's not true. Your body will only ever burn muscle mass if it's in a catabolic state. That happens when you're dieting. If you're eating your maintenance calories or you're in a surplus of calories and you're doing cardio, you won't lose any muscle mass because you're not going to lose any weight. Therefore, your body doesn't need to use muscle as an energy source, which is what happens when we diet. So, if you're not doing cardio for any reason other than you are injured and cannot do it, get your ass on it right now. Forget this myth because it has been busted here on my channel. So, that's me done. I have went through the 4 questions that I answered a year ago, and I think I've answered them in a lot greater detail than I did a year ago. I reckon there's a lot more information here that you guys can take away. It's a lot more clear. But if you guys do want to know about weight loss, I'll leave a link to the description. I'll leave a link to that video in the description called Weight Loss 101. You can just learn about how to lose weight more in depth than we've done here. And you can also see where this video was inspired from. But at the recording of this video, I got a call from one of my friends. So I'm gonna let my good friend, Dave Harradine, outro this video for me. Take it away, Dave. So whenever you're ready, mate, outro my video.
Cool. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Connor Mooney's YouTube channel. This has been 4 most common cardio questions. I'm Dave Harradine. Make sure you subscribe to Connor Mooney Fitness. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. Make sure that you hype him up because he's a good dude. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace. I really hope I keep that name. That's going to sound really weird. Right. I'll speak to you in a bit then, mate.
Alright, mate. Catch you in a bit.
Right, bye.
Peace.
Fucking pretenders, man. Never leave you alone. We're done. It's a wrap, boys. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Oh, God, I'm so dizzy. Cardio itself will not make your muscle fuck itself.